Hi everyone, I'm Kristen Kupke, a part of our Disruptor team here at Facebook, and welcome to our Executive Connect Disruptor series. I'm joined by Griffin Thall, CEO and co-founder of Pura Vida. Thank you, Griffin, for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome. There's a lot happening in the world today. We're already in June. What's top of mind for you right now?
I think top of mind for us is just planning our next reopening. We don't have the exact date that we plan on reopening the office, but we want to make sure that safety, security, health, those are all top priority. We do know that our team's been working really well from home, so we want to make sure that going into the office serves a great purpose, and that our staff also feels safe doing so.
Definitely. How have you been managing a remote workforce during this time?
Every Friday at 10 a.m. we do a Zoom call with our whole staff where me and Paul will, get on Zoom. We'll kind of like motivate the staff, give them updates, what's going on with like e-com and wholesale, but also what's going on in the world, and make sure that our staff knows that, we are there for them. If they want to reach out to us personally, they all have our personal lines and emails. And if there is something that they want to bring up, they could bring it up, to the whole team or just privately to us. But we want to make sure that our staff knows that we are their bosses, but we're also their friends as well. And at this time, we want to make sure that, they are happy and they are safe.
And beyond communication, what have you been doing to maintain the culture that's so important for Pura Vida?
Our brand is very culture centric. Before COVID, we would go into the office, celebrate everyone's birthday, whether it's a cake, whether it's an avocado toast bar, whether it's putting them on the Instagram story and really highlighting how much we appreciate them as an employee. That's been difficult to do, obviously. So, whether it's the Friday Zooms that we do, or whether it's, everyone hopping on the Zoom with a different outfit and trying to show that we're having a good time virtually, that's another option. It is difficult, and I don't think any company has really perfected it. But I do think that just like being present and being there and showing that you really care about their well-being is kind of what we're doing right now to keep the culture strong.
And what's been the most surprising thing?
I would say the most surprising thing is how well everyone's done. We've had a global pandemic. Now we're having a lot of these protests and riots. I mean, I don't think the world could look any worse from the outside right now. Yet our team has just been thriving. They're working together stronger than ever. They're working cross-functional. Different departments are working together. E-com's really been thriving. The sales have just been booming on the site. Wholesale's been taking a little hit, obviously, just because people can't physically go into the stores and shop. But I definitely feel that coming out of this, our team is going to be much stronger than we were before, but also knowing that the team can work just as good, if not better, working from home too.
Switching gears a little bit, how are you marketing in this new normal?
So in the beginning, right when this hit, we really had to kind of take a quick pivot just because Pura Vida is a very outdoorsy brand, adventurous. We're always, showing our influencers exploring the world and bringing Pura Vida along with them. However, since that couldn't happen, we had to basically take a big 180 and kind of bring it back internally. So we've been working with our current influencers on shooting content indoors, shooting content, kind of more alone and not making it feel like they're at some big beach party or at some big group gathering. So those are the kind of things that, Pura Vida is a big account. We have over 2 million followers on Instagram. So we need to be a leader with everything that's going on right now. And, everyone has their eyes on what brands are doing. So you don't want to make sure that you say the wrong thing or set a bad example. And I think, up until this point, we've done a great job with that.
So creative's been a big part of where you've shifted your strategy for both organic and for paid. Have you mostly leaned on your influencers to help you provide that new creative, or have you been doing any shoots on your own as well?
Yeah, I would say our influencers obviously are very aware with what's going on, and it's been pretty easy for us to kind of get the message across, saying that we want to have creative that's going to be shot very, very homey, very internal, showing people's lives a little bit unpolished. And I think that's what's been getting the best engagement on our account on the organic side. In terms of paid, a lot of our best performing ads, are just kind of like flat wrist shots or flat photos of like people's rings. So those are normally shot indoors anyway, so we haven't really had to pivot too much there. It's more so the creative on the copy, making sure that instead of like, hey, take Pura Vida on your next trip with you, we can't say that. So we're saying, hey, like, make yourself happy, look pretty at home, do good, feel good, like stuff like that, where it makes people feel okay shopping from Pura Vida, even though it's not about, bringing our products with you on your next getaway.
How have you communicated with your customers throughout this time about what's going on in the world?
Same ways as prior, Instagram stories, sending them emails about what's going on, whether it's COVID, whether it's the protests, and some of the riots that have been happening in towns very close to my heart. It's sad to see these things going on, but we are messaging our entire subscriber list and followers on Instagram about it. And I think we've been transparent, we've been honest. We made a very sizable donation. We've been very straightforward on what our perspective is, and it's been difficult because this is new to all of us. No business owner has gone through this on either of these accounts. So I think that we're all learning, we're all adjusting, and I think coming out of it, there's going to be some big changes in the world.
Speaking of that, what do you think the biggest consumer trends are going to be coming out of this time period?
People still want to have products that they can afford. They want to have products that give back, that tell a good story. Consumers will continue to buy from brands that are authentic, that are transparent, whether it's showing, parts of their supply chain, whether it's showing parts of the cost of goods. There's a ton of ways that brands can just really, be good and do good in this world. And I think those are the brands that are going to win long term.
What permanent changes you think are going to result of COVID-19?
I think a permanent change that I don't want to fully quote it, but I feel like a lot moving forward of businesses are going to have a much more lenient work from home policy. I know I am, just because I know that our staff has just completely excelled working from home. It used to be, hey, can I take Friday off? We'd give it to them, but then, are they working from home or just taking a 3-day weekend? You never really know. But I feel like now at this point, we know how hard our staff is working, and it's really done great. They've done a great job with the numbers, with the branding, with the whole experience. And I definitely see that companies, big or small, are going to adopt a much more lenient work from home policy. Whether you're the size of Pura Vida or as big as Facebook, these business owners are realizing how powerful their staff is. When they are at the comfort of their home, they have a much better work-life balance. They're going on jogs or working out during the day. They're getting more in touch with their family. They're seeing their friends, but they're also excelling in their jobs. And to me, that's the most important.
So longer term, when we think into 2021, in your mind, what does the Pura Vida office and work life look like?
Fast forwarding to 2021, I still think Pura Vida is going to be a very culture-heavy office and a very culture-heavy brand where, we're going to continue to recruit people that are like-minded, love the brand, love the mission, and definitely see a future working for Pura Vida. But I do see the office as a much different place where people are not just going to come in every single day, 9 to 5, because they have to, because it looks good for their boss. But I really think people are going to come in to collaborate, to have better, group meetings, to make sure that when they do come in, it's productive. There's a goal going into the office that day, and not just, to work 8 hours because that's what their schedule says they have to do. I really think that this was something that was coming. I think that a lot of the workforce is driven by millennials. And I think those are the people that have always valued a work-life balance, but we're kind of living in the past with this 9 to 5, Monday through Friday type of workflow.
Well, you're located in San Diego. In San Diego right now in June, things are beginning to reopen. People are going to restaurants. People are starting to resume their normal activities. How do you feel and how do your employees feel about returning to work?
So we sent out a survey to our staff. We have about 40 employees that received the survey, and we basically asked them 5 or 6 different questions about their comfort coming back to the office, what they want to see from their employer, what are some ways that they would feel more comfortable coming back, and how can Pura Vida make them feel happy and like they don't have to work from home anymore. And the overall results were mixed. We had a couple staff members say that they want to permanently work from home, and then we had a majority of our staff say they want to see a blend of working from home and coming back to the office. So no one really said, I want to be back in the office Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 on the old school schedule. I feel like a lot of people really want a more balanced lifestyle. And if they're going to, work within their goals, hit their numbers, their managers are happy with them, then I see no problem with that. So we see a much more blended model, something like Mondays are work from home because everyone really hates Mondays and Sunday scaries are a real thing. And it kind of makes your Saturday not as fun too. So we figured cut off Monday, and then we have Tuesday, Thursday will be group A, and then we have Wednesday, Friday will be group B. And those 2 groups will switch on week 1 and 3, 2 and 4. So it sounds a little confusing, but when it's drawn out, it's pretty simple. We created an org chart so everyone is social distance within the office. And we feel that by doing it this way, people will be coming into the office with their entire team just spread out. So right now, if one whole part of the office is going to be like sales and operations, now those sides are split up and half of them are put on the marketing and design side on the days that the other side is not coming in the office. So we also know that there's going to be a learning curve with this. So we could do this new plan. It could completely flop. And if it does, then we'll pivot again. But I think that this is the best way that we see going into the office with confidence and giving our staff what they want and what they're comfortable with.
That's great. Do you have a timeline for this?
We're kind of leaning in the next like 4 weeks or so. We feel that opening up like this week, next week, kind of seems too quick. And then we have 4th of July coming up. So I think we're kind of leaning like after 4th of July within the week or two. It kind of sits right with us. But once again, fully optional to come in. People are going to have their group A's or group B's Monday off. So I think it's going to be a slow go back to normal, and we're okay with that.
Pivoting a little bit again. How was it for you personally during quarantine? What was the hardest thing?
I think the hardest thing for me was in the beginning stages where the news was just bad every day. I had kind of a tough time with that. I had a tough time knowing that the world was ending and there was no answer and no cure. And I just kind of went down this rabbit hole. And then once I kind of stopped looking at the news every day and started to kind of be more open-minded, and then go for more walks, and the beaches started opening up and I could start surfing again, which is, my biggest passion. Then I kind of got okay with it. And then I adapted, going for a walk midday and going for an afternoon surf sesh with all my buddies. And then coming home and making a healthy dinner, like all that stuff started to feel okay with me and much more normal. And I think, the biggest change that I saw was when I accepted changing my lifestyle and not just fighting it and trying to find a cure in my head, because that was never going to happen.
Yeah, resiliency and adapting, definitely something we've all been embracing during this time. How has the company's roadmap changed as a result of the last 3 or 4 months?
So our company roadmap has stayed pretty consistent over the past couple months, just because a lot of the stuff that we've designed, we created like 6 or 9 months ago. So they were kind of still on pace with production. There have been a couple product categories that we're not able to launch, due to COVID restrictions with production. And those are not going to come out until next year when they were supposed to come out, in Q3 or Q4. We're also supposed to open up a Pura Vida retail store in August, but that's not going to happen either because we don't want to have like any headwinds or any difficulties opening that up. And once again, we're okay with these things. The business is still growing. We're still crushing it online. Wholesale took a little dip, obviously, because people couldn't shop and go in store. But we know we're sticking to our roadmap, and we see bright skies ahead of us.
What's the biggest pivot that you've had to make?
The biggest pivot, I would say, is probably like in our marketing, just making sure that people are watching us. We have 2 million followers on Instagram, so if we say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing or post something that's not everyone approves of, then we kind of get heat for that, and there's backlash, and then we kind of became this like political forum, and that's not our angle at all. So you got to be very cautious. You got to be aware of the news, of what's going on. You never want to be a news source. We're not a news source. You know what I mean? We're Pura Vida. We're a branding company. We make products that make people feel good. But when news kind of comes into play and they look at us as a leader, you got to be cautious about what you say because they trust us.
And besides messaging, does your marketing look similar as it did in the beginning of the year? For instance, are you testing out any new channels or anything as a result of what's going on right now?
Yeah, I would say, a lot of our video content, we've changed a little bit. It's less high polish, high production. It's much more UGC, boomerangs, fun little GIFs and videos that are shot on iPhone. Those have been converting really well for us. So I think we're going to stick with a much more kind of playful, more amateur style video on our ads.
Is there anything that you're actively testing in your marketing or within your products right now?
Right now we have some stuff we're testing. It's more like A/B testing on site with our subscription page, whether it's testing 1 month versus 6 month or an annual subscription plan. Those are some big tests that we're focusing on right now. And I think it kind of comes down to the creative on whether the creative is polished. Is it a polished unboxing video? Is it kind of a UGC iPhone photo? What's the angle that we're taking with it? Do we want people to feel like they're part of a subscription every month, or do we want them to feel like every month you're going to get more bracelets to collect them all type of messaging? So there's never any right way to do it, but we always want to make sure that we are testing and we're evolving our copy.
And consumer behavior wise, the way that people purchase Pura Vida, whether it's a bracelet, whether it's a necklace or subscription, has that changed at all during the last 4 months? Have you seen any unique consumer behavior?
I think more people are shopping online more than ever right now, especially on mobile. So, our mobile traffic is upwards of like 90 or 95% at times. So I think that that's also really good to know that, we feel that our desktop site is not being seen by everyone. So we have to make sure that our mobile experience is just top notch.
Awesome. Well, Griffin, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us and sharing your experience of 2020. And we appreciate you being here.
Of course. Thanks, guys.